What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Monday Night Rewind on Wrestling Backlash. Today, we are going to talk about the highlights of the Monday Night Raw from Monday, May 27th. Let's go ahead and get started. There was a whole lot to cover from the King of the Ring PLE, and we are well on our way to SummerSlam. Monday Night Raw opens up the show in front of a huge crowd in Savannah, Georgia, and Ludwig Kaiser from Imperium stands in the middle of the darkened ring to announce the new King of the Ring, the Ring General, Gunther. Not a bad intro by Kaiser. The dude is growing on me, especially since I know he still gets to go home to Tiffany Stratton every night. But like I mentioned earlier, there was some controversy over Gunther and his win against Randy Orton at King of the Ring because Randy Orton's shoulders were not completely on the mat. But Gunther's promo didn't cover the issue. He just pointed out that he is the man to put prestige on everything he holds. He brought prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship, he brought prestige back to the King of the Ring, and now he's ready to put prestige on the World Heavyweight title. Before Gunther could finish his promo, Damian Priest and the Judgment Day come out to call out Gunther. Words are exchanged, and it's only a lead up to the man coming back to action. Yep, that's right. The Scottish Warrior interrupts Damian Priest to come down to the ring and get back into the mix as the next contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know, is it me, or were the transitions from Gunther's promo to Damian's promo, and then from Damian's promo to Drew's promo a little clunky? It wasn't as seamless as they usually are. Gunther just leaves the ring after he's done with his segment. Drew does the same thing after he's done with his segment. And then Braun Strowman just comes out and gets ready for his match against JD McDonough. It was just a weird transition between the promos and the wrestlers. Anyways, they get the night started with the first match of the night, and Braun Strowman faces off against JD McDonough. Any takers on how this match goes? Does JD get snapped into by Braun within the first 5 minutes? Does the monster among men rip one of JD's limbs off and smack him around with it to get disqualified? Well, none of those things happened, but he did execute one of the nastiest power slams in the business today to pin JD and win the match. But there was no celebration since the Judgment Day, and Carlito attacked Braun Strowman immediately after the bell rung, and JD McDonough thought it would be wise to hit Braun in the back with a chair. You could see the instant regret coming over JD's face as Braun slowly turns around to slap the mess out of him. But the hyenas were too quick for Braun and raced out of the ring back into the locker room. Pretty decent start to the night. The next match of the night has the Speed champion Ricochet face off against the Mad Dragon Ilya Dragunov. Now, Ricochet was a little banged up from his attack by Braun Breaker last week, but he was medically cleared and was given the green light to wrestle on Monday. He was favoring his ribs the entire match and had that KT tape applied all over his upper body. You could definitely tell he wasn't 100%, and Dragunov capitalized on the opportunity. It was a great match between these two future main eventers, but guess who came in to disrupt the match? Braun Breaker. The guy who was supposed to be suspended jumped right into the ring and speared Ricochet so hard he did a 360 flip in the air before landing on the mat. Dragunov tried to save his rival buddy with some chops to Braun's chest, but that just pissed him off some more, and he speared Dragunov. The dude is an uncontrollable wrecking ball, and I love his intensity and power. There is no doubt that these three have a brewing storyline that is heading right to SummerSlam. Next up, we have a tag team match with the Authors of Pain from the Final Testament facing the Creed brothers. I gotta tell ya, Julius Creed is fun to watch. The guy has some incredible athleticism, but the AOP were too much for the Creed brothers. They hit him with their finisher What a Rush and win the match with ease. They both are pretty good tag teams, but the AOP and the Final Testament had the numbers to win the match. Sheamus is next up on the mic, and he has a few words to say to the WWE Universe about Gunther. Sheamus is pretty pissed off that Ludwig Kaiser messed up his knee and took him out of the King of the Ring tournament. But Ludwig showed up on the Jumbotron and was backstage telling Sheamus to pretty much piss off. Of course, Sheamus wasn't having any of that mess, and he's always looking for a fight. So he gets out of the ring and races backstage to find Kaiser. But Kaiser finds him first, throws him into some of the props backstage. They bring the fight back out to the crowd, and it takes a few referees and staff members to break up their fight. The first women's match of the night is between Kairi Sane and Lyra Valkyria. Lyra was pretty taped up because of her match at Queen of the Ring against Nia Jax. Jax sat full force on Lyra's chest to win the Queen of the Ring tournament, and Lyra is feeling the effects on Monday night with her match against Kairi Sane. but Lyra Valkyria persevered and pinned Kairi Sane to win the match. Decent showing by Lyra, and the future looks bright for her in the WWE. The LWO is next up, and Rey Mysterio takes on his former team member, Carlito. Rey Mysterio is pretty bitter at Carlito and throws his t-shirt at Carlito right as the bell rings. Rey Mysterio promised revenge on what Carlito did to the LWO a few weeks ago. Carlito is pretty much jealous of Dragon Lee and wanted to prove to everyone that he was still in his prime. And that's not cool, Carlito. The Judgment Day tries to help Carlito by taking out Dragon Lee, but Rey Mysterio was the better man and pins Carlito to win the match. Judgment Day fails Damian Priest again. Big Bronson Reed and Otis start the third and final hour of Monday Night Raw. Otis had all of the momentum in this match and was feeling it. The guy had the match won, he was about to do the worm, and once again Chad Gable had to butt in and distract Otis. Big Bronson Reed had time to recover, set up his tsunami move, and pin Otis to win the match. Chad Gable gets on the mic and tells Otis to get back into the ring and calls the rest of the Alpha Academy to come down to the ring for an immediate Alpha Academy meeting. I don't know what he has to tell them. He's the one to screw Otis in losing the match. He's the one that has Tozawa and Maxine Dupree so wound up that they can't do anything right in the eyes of Chad Gable. Doesn't he see that he's the problem? I guess not, because he proceeds to rip into all three of them. Chad Gable even has the audacity to take off his belt and demand Otis grab the top rope of the ring. He tells Otis, "This is going to hurt me more than it is going to hurt you." As he winds up to strike Otis, Maxine Dupree stops Chad from beating Otis. He kicks her out of the ring, but Sami Zayn comes out and stops Chad Gable's Napoleon Complex demonstration. Sami butts into Alpha Academy business and proceeds to get beat down by Chad Gable. Otis is really conflicted in what to do. Should he save Sami or stick with his coach and stay behind Chad Gable? The entire Savannah crowd is chanting, "Let's go Otis, let's go Otis." We can't wait to see Otis finally snap, and you have to hand it to the WWE. They've been letting this Otis storyline simmer very well these past few weeks. Of course, Otis stays loyal to Chad and the Alpha Academy, and he lives in shame for another week. I tell ya, there is going to be a huge pop from the crowd once Otis finally has the courage to find the light and get out of Chad Gable's shadow. And finally, for the main event, we have the new Women's World Champion Liv Morgan versus the man Becky Lynch in a steel cage match for the title in a rematch from King and Queen of the Ring PLE. If you didn't get a chance to see my recap on the King and Queen of the Ring, click the link in the top right corner to see the highlights of Liv Morgan's controversial win with the help of Dum Dum Dom Mysterio. This is Liv Morgan's first steel cage match, but you couldn't tell at all. Morgan used the steel cage very well to inflict punishment to Becky Lynch. Same with Becky, she used the steel cage to inflict some serious pain on Liv Morgan. It was an even fight for a majority of the match, and you wouldn't believe what was the tipping point of the match for these two. Yup, you guessed it. Dom Mysterio interferes again. Dom opens the steel door trying to help Becky Lynch. The dude just doesn't learn, does he? The rest of the Judgment Day come down to ask Dom what the hell he is doing. Oh, and Braun Strowman finally catches up to JD McDonough and chases him around the ring, only for Braun to hit Dirty Dom into the steel door and slam it shut, just as Becky Lynch was trying to exit the steel cage. Becky is knocked out cold, and Liv crawls out of the unlocked steel cage door to win the match and retain her Women's World title. Dom is in hot water, and he might want to rehab his elbow from home from now on, because we all know Mommy is not happy right now. That's all for Monday Night Raw. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more of our wrestling content. Until next time.